with everything that's changing in technology, you need content. It's not education anymore. It's kind of entertainment plus education. So how do you make the combination of both and still be able to educate your clients so you're closing more business?
Welcome to the Marketing Expedition Podcast, an auditory journey through the latest in marketing, branding, and advertising. Now, here's your Marketing Expedition guide, Ray Allen.
On this week's episode of the Marketing Expedition Podcast, I get to speak with V. Krishna Lakkineni. He hailed from a small village in India. Being born into poverty, the lack of necessities made him work harder, and he became hungry to achieve something better for himself, his future family, and the generations to come. As a 10-year-old, he thought money would solve all of his problems. In fact, this thought vanished as he got older and understood there was something greater. A higher purpose now drives him to reach his goals, and his self-discoveries led to an inner passion to help others through mentoring, giving, compassion, and love. Through his hard work, dedication, and continuing education, Krishna developed a unique skill set in the digital marketing industry where possessing both analytical, left brain, and creative imaginary, right brain talent led to quality project outcomes. He currently leads a team of talented technologists, designers, and strategists at ROI Media Works, and Mr. Lakkineni has over 15 years of experience working in the ever-changing digital marketing world. Being analytical, an entrepreneur, a programmer, and a marketer, he has developed a unique yet strategic skill set where he sets the bar high for himself. He also had considerable experience working on Fortune 500 companies' digital marketing projects in an agency environment. And we're going to talk a lot about a variety of wonderful things, so stay tuned for that. But first, it's now time for your Marketing Essentials moment, the basics that you need to continue helping you build your brand and your bottom line. Over the last few weeks, I've been giving you 50 ways in 50 days that you can use Peppershock services to help you in your marketing journey, or you can implement some of these on your own if you're in the do-it-yourself mode, or if you want to hire us to be in the done with you or even done for you mode. But I wanted to give lots of different tactics and tips and things along the way to get you up and running if you are a startup, or maybe you need to level up your business and scale more and grow. So I've given you all kinds of good ideas. And so this will wrap up this series of the 50 days and 50 ways that you can get your business on board to help you continue to build that brand and bottom line. So this will be part 3 of the Marketing Essentials moment to wrap it up. And we'll have some more new fun nuggets for next week. But let's just continue on the list. I think I last week ended up with talking about getting your vehicle wrapped. And now some other ideas that you can implement into your business and consider putting into tactics. And I also want to warn you, you cannot do all of these things. Pick the ones that are going to work best for you. This is just to give you a whole bunch of different ideas of things that can work that we have used over the years in our clients with us and our own marketing that we do for Peppershock as well. But let's just get into it. So OTT and CTV and display ads. So OTT means over the top, connected TV, and then display ads. So it's kind of a 3-prong approach here. You can do over the top ads, and those are basically the commercials that play before the actual video that you want to watch or the streaming video that you want to see. If it's connected TV, because we all have televisions in our homes, most of us, that are connected to the internet in one way or another. And so playing those ads before you get to watch the programming that you'd like basically means that there's multiple places that you can see this, either online on the internet, on web pages that you are watching videos, or on your smart devices that you have. So if you have a living room TV, just think of what it is that you're going to be able to see in that. And you can also geo-target these commercials on things like Hulu and Tubi, and Netflix and Disney Plus now also has places that you can put ads on. So there's things that you can consider. We can help you do this. We can help you produce the commercial that you want to play, or you can do it on your own. We also partner with people who help us spend the money wisely and in the geographic areas and the interests of the people who are you want to target, that you want to get to see in front of your message, to get and see in front of them. So working to think through that. Some of these platforms do have a minimum monthly spend per month, but we can work with you to figure out what your budget is. We also don't want you to just waste your money if you don't have enough of a budget. So this is something to consider. Budget wise, at least maybe $1,000 per platform per month is at least a starting point. Now, of course, you could spend even more than that, but if you only have that kind of budget, that's what we would say we need to at least do that. Some of the platforms have even more of a minimum spend. We just need to work through what it is that you have, and of course, who it is that we want to target specifically. Okay, another tactic is using affiliate marketing. So using affiliates to promote your product or service that you can then pay them back for having referred you the business. So they're an affiliate of yours. They're selling your product or service to be able to do that. Or on the flip side, you can be an affiliate marketer too. And this is ways to get messaging and branding out there to help you promote that brand. And so then the affiliate marketer, if you want to promote your product or service using affiliate marketers, if you get paid, then they get paid. So they're invested in it just as much as you are and wanting to get the message out there about your product or your service, right? So it's kind of a win-win situation. They don't get paid unless you do. So that's how that works. You can set up specific links that then tie it back so that you know that they are the ones that you attribute that sell to that you've made or that they've made on your behalf. Another one is direct mail, as in, snail mail, United States Postal Service mail, good old fashioned postage letters. You can send out sales letters to those that you want to specifically see your message. Direct mail can work too. It's still just as viable medium as any of these others that I'm talking about. And we can help you obtain mailing lists specifically to your target audience. We can do it by zip code. If they are renters, if they're business owners, if they're, dwellers and home dwellers, if, any of those types of filters we can add into that specifically. We can even target whether or not they voted one way or the other in one political party or another. Not always is it 100%. There is a margin of error with this, but because people move, maybe they don't update their address or their forwarding address. There's little things like that that can kind of skew it just a little bit. However, it is a great way to be able to address somebody by name and give them the information that you want in front of them, because we can use variable data to where it's the same message, but then they change the name out for every piece of mail that you send. You can send flyers and postcards and other types of direct mail pieces to really stand out. And we can help do all of that process, or of course you can take it on and do your own, but we'll even get the postage and all the things that you need to, and make sure that you have enough postage, and we can even do bulk permits and all the fun things that come with direct mail. But that's another way to do it. If you're going to have an open house, or maybe it's a grand opening, maybe you want to send an oversized postcard to stand out a little bit more, all the things that can happen with direct mail. It's another tactic that you can use. Stickers. Everyone loves stickers. I have stickers on my Hydro Flask. I have stickers on my laptop. I have stickers on my car. I have stickers everywhere, right? People love stickers. They love to be rewarded with stickers. They like to put their individuality of stickers in different places on different things on their, we have stickers on our camp trailer even. So stickers are something to think about that you could use as a way to build your brand, and making some of those stickers something that people do want to put in place, right? Not maybe just making it a complete, branding or logo for you, but what can you do to have a saying or to help you drive traffic to your landing page, because you've got, either a little QR code on it or a specific vanity URL that you put on it. We have stickers for the Marketing Expedition podcast even, and we can use these stickers to help tell, and we send them out to our guests who have been on the show. They help promote them and they put stickers on, and I've seen pictures of people putting stickers on things that they send that we've sent out. So stickers are super fun. Okay, and here's some bonus tips, because I told you 50 ways, but I've got even more. Okay, so there's things like Craigslist or Angie's List. Can't remember if we already talked about Yelp, but that's another place where you can list your business profile. Of course, Google My Business. Of course, that's one you must have, is Google My Business. You can do things on the eBay store. You can sell stuff in variety of different places, or what if it's a product, of course. Etsy. all those things, right? And another thing is you can offer to be a speaker, a guest speaker, do a presenter demo and share your knowledge with others, do a TEDx talk, submit to do a TEDx talk, right? And those TEDx talks, not necessarily about branding your business, but it's positioning you as an expert in something that you know a lot about. And then, of course, they have people who will coach you through being able to present. So that's another thing. What else? Building your email list. I think we talked a lot about that. Just thinking about all the different tactics and things. Here's another simple one that you can do, your email signature. Have your website or your URL, even on your cell phone, if you do emails through your cell phone, have a way for people to engage or connect or check out your site. Or, I have my booking link. If people want to book 15 minutes of time with me, they can. So email signatures are another place to, make sure you've got information. But that is a lot of different tactics and tools to take. And again, don't do them all at once. If you do, you'll probably go a little crazy. But pick out the ones that that can matter to you most in helping you continue to build your brand and your bottom line. And reevaluate what's working, what's not, and why. And what do you need to stop, start, keep, or tweak on an ongoing basis. We look at marketing audits. We try to do them at least once a year for all of our clients. Even for us, for Peppershock, we look at our own marketing audit, identify what to stop, start, keep, or tweak, what's working, what's not, and why. So these are all things to continue to build and do to help you in your marketing journey. Now, let's get to the interview with VK. You're in for a treat. Listen up. Welcome to the Marketing Expedition podcast. I'm your host, Ray Allen. I'm the president and CEO of Peppershock Media and the founder of the Marketing Expedition community. And today's guest, we have VK, and I want to make sure I say it right, Lakkineni. Say it for me.
Lakkineni.
Lakkineni. I knew. I tried to even write it down so I could get it.
Try. It's good.
So VK, welcome to the show. I would love for you to share a little more about you and your background and all the wonderful, you travel from different places and have a lot of marketing experience. So just give us an overview of where you were and how you got to where you are now.
Right. Thank you very much for, having me on this show. And we were having some pre-show conversations, but I'll start over. I'm born and raised in India and been living in Canada since 2008. And this is where I started my entrepreneurial journey. And I had 3 companies. And, I looked at the world differently. How can I give back more? How can I do more with the limited time that I have on this earth? So the only vehicle that I figured out is being an entrepreneur and having a company. It allows you to have the freedom to spend time with the family, but also you can do greater good in the community. So, ROI Media Works is one of the agencies that I'm still CEO and the founder, and I had 2 other startups, Snap QR and also Buddy Golf. And once you gain more experience, you start looking at other opportunities. So now I offer business coaching as mindset monk for other businesses that are in the midlife crisis, trying to scale their businesses. I co-authored 3 Amazon best-selling books. I have 2 Telly Awards, and being an executive producer on an Emmy Award-winning film, Dreamer, which is available on Amazon. But I think everything was pointing me to how can I inspire people? How can I motivate them to believe in themselves and their purpose, and then help them along the way? Because I had my mentors, and now I'm being a mentor for other people.
Good. It's giving back to those that need it, and just as you did at one point too. And even then, coaches get coached, right? Mentors need mentors. I love it.
Yeah, I was having this conversation with my dad. He's a teacher, and with the AI and everything that's changing, and I was playing with it, and he's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm just learning something new, and it's like, you have to learn new, after all these years. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, being a lifetime learner, right? That's really good.
Yeah.
Teachers teaching the teachers. That's good. So you've got all the different companies, but I want to know, what's your favorite thing to do? Out of all the things that you do, what do you love to do most?
Finding solutions for different problems, right? And I think when I first started as an entrepreneur, it was all about money. I just need to have a nice house because, I grew up, poor middle class type of family in India. But then the hunger became different, like, either inspiring from Steve Jobs or now Elon Musk, whatever that is, creating solutions that are solving problems for the community and making a better world for everybody. And I think that's important to me. And I look at that even with every clients that I work with. Okay, you have this business, so you have employees. So whatever we do, it needs to make a difference. So it's helping your employees and having that sustainability. And that puts a smile on my face every single time there is a win. Okay, that's great, right? I'll just give you an example. Somebody reached out to me and they said, "Hey, we need to include this calculator on the Wix website." And my employee's first reaction was, "We don't work with Wix. Like we're not that kind of agency." And I'm like, but the entrepreneur side of me, I just want to look at more. I looked at his business. It's a brand new, innovative uh, community housing solution. And those tiny homes where you can just have a land and make it sustainable with the solar and everything. He's a young guy, have a vision, trying to do with it. So all of a sudden, from the calculator to he's like, so much, like from the investing side, from building company side. Can you help me more, right? And that's again way beyond what we do as an agency, but personally, that fills my heart.
Yeah, no, that's good. I love being able to share what we know and having others benefit from the expertise and experiences that we've had, right? That they can take and use to leverage their own position and where they are. That's really cool. So here's some more examples of things that you've been able to accomplish. And since we are on a marketing journey, let's focus on some of the marketing tactics and things that you and your team have been able to accomplish for some of your clients. I'd love to dig in and see what people think is working, especially nowadays. There's so many different options and so many different tactics and strategies and things to take. I'd love to hear from you something that was highly successful that worked with your clients and what you and your team did to make it happen.
For sure. I'll take a step back there, like looking at working with 150 plus existing clients and 200 other odd projects in 15 years. Um, the human psychology is basically make it simple, make it easier. I just want to make it happen with one click, right? And then they try to use that methodology. I mean, it's human psychology. Look at the Ely financials and say, I wish my taxes are done like that, right?
Right.
And same methodologies they try to apply with the marketing and everything else small businesses do. But when you shift that and say, okay, I need a HR professional, I need a finance professional, I need a marketing professional who really knows what's happening. And this is where that strategy comes in. And working with all these businesses, every one of them came through us. Hey, we tried social media, it didn't work, or we tried Google Ads, it didn't work. We've been producing content, but we're not getting any attractions. But it all pointed back to the roadmap and the strategy. Like none of these businesses had a strategy and a long-term roadmap, like 3 to 5 years. What I'm doing year one, month to month, year two, three, and where is that helping me to get to the next level? And when you look back and say, hey, what you're doing is basically a band-aid solution. You're just kind of, somebody told me social media ads working, right? But does it really work for your business? Is that where you want to start, right? So we just go back to the fundamentals. Like, in the marketing course, we look at like the awareness, like where are they in the funnel and what kind of strategy or platform that you want to use. And that came in really handy for a number of clients for us. So a startup, brand awareness, nobody knows about you. So this is where you start, but you kind of funnel them into different stages. So you're closing more deals over the time. But some businesses, okay, I want to get leads right away. I've been 20 years in the business, but with everything that's changing in technology, you need content. It's not education anymore. It's kind of entertainment plus education. So how do you make the combination of both and still be able to educate your clients so you're closing more business? So every strategy is different. And for us, we are a boutique agency. So it's not like, hey, here's a $5,000 package, right? Just show it on their face. And we have like 90% client retention rate. And that's like, good to have, but also you're growing with the business. And I personally have meetings with all these businesses and say, how are you doing? Right? Like I get to know them personally, business wise, and say, are the numbers good? Like, especially after COVID, I had to step back more into the ROI media work side of the business and say, like, okay, you're up 20%. That's not bad. Like, we work with jewelry franchisees like Pandora, for example, and look at the franchises and say, okay, are you doing good? And yeah, like, we were 2 million, now we're like 2.3. Okay, that's a good progress. So how do we make more of that, right? So the mentoring part as a business coach plus implementing these solutions for the clients is something unique that we have. And I believe in the pie is big enough. There are other agencies there. Even when I first started, there are like 14 other agencies in the space that I was in. And I survived through. We won multiple awards and then keep innovating and keep doing the good work. And that's what we got as where we are today.
Oh, that's fabulous. And I think you are absolutely correct in the idea of having that roadmap for a long-term plan. So that way you aren't just trying to throw things out there and hope that they work, right? You've got it all part of the master plan. Now, it's not to say that the plan can't change along the way. New things and new discoveries are happening, but at least you have an idea of where that destination is that you're going, right? On that marketing journey that we're all trying to, get to and succeed with, right?
Yeah, it's all the models, right? Like, I came from a programming background to marketing. So in programming back those days, you had to write code for every single thing, right? Like including building the calendars. But now there's a framework, you include it, right? So there are a lot of models out there, but what makes you really work for your business, right? Like, sometimes you have to take a step back. Like, I recently had a client, we got the logo, we're building the website, can you help us with the marketing? And I took a step back, looked at the logo. Okay, when somebody looks at the logo and your branding, can they tell what you do? Right? Like we don't do branding and advertising. Like, our focus is advertising, but I want to make that connection, right? Like at the end of the day, when you're building a company, you're building a brand, you're building a model where you can sell it. Like a lot of business owners don't think about the exit strategy. So how do you incorporate from the beginning, right? And then I sold her. I sent her a couple of articles basically that talks about the color psychology and the fonts. Like, even though I'm very much familiar with it, we don't offer it as a solution. I just want you to take a look and think through. Your brand represents love, happiness, and wisdom, and the colors that pretty much uses by the companies is different than what you came up with. A black and dark gold, right? Like where does that fit in there? So again, like, whether we work together or not, give them the best opportunities for them to find out more about their business.
Yeah, no, and that's a good tactic too, to send articles and information that, can be very useful, and the resources that can help you in that journey as well, for sure. Speaking of resources, what kinds of tools or resources or podcasts or things do you listen to or read to get new into the, the latest and greatest, or, keep up on what you're doing?
My Mondays and Fridays are usually just allocated for research, innovation, learning. Um, like I go back to actually the fundamentals, like a lot of Ogilvy marketing books, or even the HBR, like Harvard Business Review books. And, they're kind of like 2012, 2015. But again, that's when I went to school. But those fundamentals are really just kind of changed into different things, right? Like, if you're creating a campaign for a client, again, like, there is a connection between the offline campaigns that they're doing or what they have done, but how do you leverage that, translate into online, right? Like I love Gary Vaynerchuk, like, his podcasts and whatnot. And Seth Godin, like my all-time idols, who I get to meet a couple of times at the different conferences. So,
Right.
I'm very much focused on the people, right? Like the psychology of people and how do you implement that in your marketing campaigns. So I learned a lot about the people and the responses and the emotions, and then how to use that as part of your influencer campaign.
Oh, that's good. Those are always good resources. And yeah, Seth Godin, definitely, if you're in the marketing field, you should definitely be paying attention to Seth, right? And now a word about our sponsor, Abriva. Abriva is a 100% free to use app that uses data science and machine learning to track your everyday habits and lets you know what you are doing well in areas that span across health, finances, career, relationships, and the community. And in the process, your insurance covers grows weekly with your positive habits, but never decreases for less than ideal ones. We've been using the Abriva app and it's 100% free and it's really awesome. It improves your well-being and rewards up to $11,000 in life and medical insurance at no cost to you. Go to peppershock.com/offers to find out more. Okay, so because we have some students listening, I would love to know what advice you would give someone wanting to pursue a career in this industry. What would you tell them?
There are a few things, right? I know a lot of universities do offer some technical courses in marketing as well, right? Like marketing and technology blended so well, right? It's not like I'm a graphic designer, all I want to do is a graphic design. And it doesn't work anymore. You want to learn about UX and UI, right? And if you're doing like data sciences and work with like Google Analytics or any of the conversion tools, you do want to have that subject, but also you need to learn certain tools. And same goes with implementing some of these paid campaigns. Okay, you're good at writing content and writing ads, but you also need to know how to use these tools so you're actually tracking the effectiveness of ad campaigns. And I think the biggest thing that I learned through my journey, it's never ending and you want to always be open to learn, right? 4 years ago, I went back to MIT and I did a brand new entrepreneurship course because they revamped some other things. So I want to go back and learn about entrepreneurship. So you always look back where you need to be, but I think uh, it all depends at the personal level. I know a lot of students, they drop out from marketing and go to arts and go to computer science. But having that focus, when I was 19, I didn't know like I'm going to be in marketing. I was focused on computer science and I loved it. I loved programming, but also I learned that my skills can be translated into marketing and implementing the tools in the marketing technologies, right? So the change is inevitable, and where you can really understand is knowing that, right? So don't be afraid of taking that chance and say, I want to pick up this book and learn more about it. And from hearing a lot of podcasts and reading books, all you need is like 4 to 7 years to be an expert in any field. And once you read like maybe average 12 to 15 books, you pretty much grasp like 80% of the subject matter. And even with the books too, you can pick up like three, fundamentals, like really the basics of it. Did you really enjoy it? And then pick up some intermediate books and say, did you really enjoy it? But read it like you're enjoying it. You fall in love with it, right? It's almost like watching that Twilight movie. Everybody loves the vampires and characters. So when you're studying, feel it and fall in love with it and see what inspires you from there. And that will lead you to wherever you want to be.
Yeah, I think definitely being a lifetime learner is very valuable. And for those that don't want to continue learning new skills, you're going to become obsolete if you don't, because the rapid rate of what is happening, especially with AI, and like you mentioned, there's just so many things to stay on top of that you can find the things that you are interested in and omit those that are not, right? If you are down a path and you just do not like it, then don't have to stay that path, right?
Yeah. I mean, there is no reason for anybody to force themselves into the profession that they don't like or enjoy, right? One thing always, I do mentor university students here. Uh, you never want to be in a situation like you're 35, look back and say, I'm stuck in this job or in this profession for 10 years. Now I don't know what to do. So, when you peel, all these years, at some point you had a thought I want to improve my skills or change the career. As long as it's like before 35, makes it easier. Even after that, with a little bit more hard work, you can get into where you want to be.
Right. And there's lots of people who've had career changes, and it's kind of their second act into areas that they want to focus on or do more of or be inspired by. And I mean, even if you are in a job right now that's not necessarily your ideal job, what about that job can you like and keep you in that right mindset, right? And you think that's helpful to at least find the things that do bring you joy, even if it isn't the job that's quite what you need to be. If you're in that, growing stage where you're, getting yourself right out, especially right out of college, right? You're not always going to get the dream job right out of college. You got to put in some time and effort and energy and learn and all those things, right?
Yeah, it's at different levels, but like when you're right out of the college, nobody tells you this is okay to do, right? And when we look at our lifespan, we spend half of our lifetime in the offices, basically 8 hours a day or 10 hours a day.
Right.
So you really want to be picky and choosy, and
Mm-hmm.
knowing that's really what you want to do. And this is where the biggest change happening with the gig economy and short-term projects, right? There's a lot of freelancers. They're like digital nomads. They work from Thailand, Philippines, but they are in the profession in that uses the technology, right? Like you can't be a finance expert and say I want to work from Thailand. It's not going to work because there are some security protocols the company needs to follow. But in marketing, you pretty much like you can be anywhere and work from anywhere and make same amount of money and live the life.
Yeah, totally. I mean, there is definitely something to be said about being able to collaborate in person versus online, and just being able to have that culture, team environment in the office space. But since the pandemic, I mean, people have figured it out, right? They figured out how to work remotely versus and we do a hybrid scenario. We're all here on Mondays, but we do different things that will help us get there. So tell me some of the most important things that you have accomplished that you think the world should know about. And it's okay to brag. I give you permission. What are some things that you've accomplished? You are absolutely, oh, this is so cool that this happened, or that, that some things that you're proud of.
This is one thing, right? Like, no matter who you ask in Swell, like from Sir Richard Branson to Gary Vaynerchuk, when you ask them, you can brag about what you accomplished. Everybody goes like, "What did I do?" Right? Same goes with me. I'm very much focused on like the community and professional development, and I think a lot of people need holding hands at the personal level, but also the whole economy is built because of the businesses, right? That's where business gets the incentives, and they can employ more people, and that's how the taxes are paid.
And the economy is doing some weird things, right? The economy is doing some weird things right now. It's unpredictable at the moment. It seems kind of, it's up and down on all around. You're right.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's very unpredictable. I think, our generation has to experience something that didn't happen in like 200 years ago, right? So we're on the edge of moving from industrial mindset to everything AI, crypto, and that way. And personally, I enjoy the tech side of it, and I think helping our clients seeing their own share of success that really motivates me. And I share those stories in when I author my books and in podcasts like this. And it all comes down to how can we inspire each other? How can we uh, hold hands together and complete our journey? And the spiritual level, we're all here with a purpose. We're all here trying to figure out why we are here, but at the same time, uh, what is your end purpose here? Right. And once you know that and you just start moving forward to it, like for me personally, like, with all the companies, books, movies, and everything, like my purpose is helping kids that are hungry, poor, and trying to become something one day. And, without some mentors and, really good people showed up in my life, I wouldn't have been here today. So how do we focus on the future generations and create a more sustainable future for them? Especially looking at the systems that are falling apart, whether it's the Silicon Valley Bank or the whole financial system, or how that politicians that are in power is kind of like manipulating and doing things in their own way. And I think that has to go away. That has to change in a way that how do we live with our neighbors and share this earth, right? At the end of the day, we set up our own boundaries, but they had to go away and say, we're all in it together. If you're using most of this and having more carbon emissions and you're kind of polluting the planet, then again, that's your responsibility to fix it. And it's not fair for countries like Uganda paying fair share of their price and whatnot, right? So at the global level, there's so many changes happening, and I think at the mindset level, like people are not on the middle anymore. Like, they're on one side, the other side, and there's no conversations happening in the middle because now they had enough information and probably through COVID, now they're like, either this or that, right? So, which is a scary situation to be in. But if you look at the overall 200 years history, these changes happened all the time. And the way to put it is, history may not repeat, but the future definitely rhymes with it. So there is a lot of things that we can learn, and how do we avoid those things, and how do we make it a better place for everybody?
I think that's great. Let's talk about the books. The Golden Rules of Success is the one that you have out now.
Yeah, that's the more recent. It's been out for a couple of years actually, but that's being used at one of the universities for their MBA class. And I co-authored and shared my entrepreneurial journey, like how I started in UK, fixing computers because being Indian, I think it's being smart. I don't know. Like my son calls me like, "You're Indian," so it comes to you naturally. I'm like, no, it's not.
It's ingrained in your brain
Right?
at a young age, right? That's good.
Yeah, but who knows? It's good or bad. Like, it's different ways of learning and teaching, and you got to be in the top 90th percentile. But I enjoy it, right? So in that book, there's different stories on entrepreneurship from different people. I highly recommend any MBA students or marketing students just go and read it, right? I read about like 20 books a year at least, like on the lowest, maybe 15. So if not this book, there are a lot of books, and some of these books are shared.
Is there an audio version?
No, not audio version on this one. Yeah, like a lot of these things are just the books, and then we actually donated all the proceeds to an orphanage in Mexico through Entrepreneurship Foundation.
Oh,
So it was like a project, but also just make sure that we're doing good around that, right?
that's great.
And the big secret, like the book before that, it's co-authored with Jack Canfield. It's more on the energy and manifestation law of attraction side. Like I'm 44 now, and I can look back. Oh my God, I wanted that when I was a kid, and I wrote it down on this piece of paper, and I dreamed about having it. Now I'm actually driving that car, right? So it just didn't happen overnight, but you had those seeds long before, right? And and it also talks about the trauma, right? Like how do you move forward when you're living with trauma? And I think everybody goes through that, but realizing that and addressing it, and how do you use that as the power, like the catalyst for you to work harder and do things that you want.
Yeah. No, that's great. I think, people, if they can visualize it, it's going to come to them a little easier naturally because it's, like you said, it's manifested into and ingrained in you. Okay, so a couple more questions. If people want to reach out to you and or purchase your book and or watch the documentary that you have coming out, give us how all that can happen, my friend.
So you can visit my website, lakkineni.com. That's LAKKINENI.com. It's like the Dreamer film is there, the books are there. And if you want to message me, like they can reach out to me, VK Lakkineni, all my social media handles.
Good. And we'll put them in the show notes as well. So for those of you listening who can't write those down right now or check out the site, go to the show notes and we'll have the links in there for you. And you're on all the socials, right? Facebook, Instagram, all the places. Yeah.
LinkedIn, you just got to be,
yeah, totally.
right?
Nowadays for sure. And it's VK. So just the V, the letter V and the letter K. Excellent. Well, any other final thoughts from you, VK, that you'd like to share before we part ways today?
Well, I really appreciate you having this conversation. I go with the flow, and I think we definitely covered something very valuable for younger generations. And then to look at it, can I use any of this, right? And if it works, it works. So I really appreciate you initiating this conversation and my podcast guys setting this up. But this is like one thought, like, I encourage every student, every listener to look back and say, why am I doing what I'm doing today? Why I'm doing this, and what is the purpose and the reason behind it? Um, you don't want to be in a situation like in your 60s and 80s and look back, did I really fully live my life, made the difference, and I'm grateful for everything that has been happening in my life. So you can take a lot of steps right from now on to your 80s, look back, yes, that's the life I wanted, I lived it.
I love that. Well, thank you so very much for joining me today, VK. We super appreciate the words of wisdom that you shared with us, and thank you for coming.
Thank you, Ray. Thank you, Ray. Appreciate you.
And for those of you listening, the best thing that you can do for both VK and I is share this episode with those you know who need to hear all of the wonderful things that VK had to share with us today. And of course, give us a review. And until then, everyone, enjoy the marketing journey.
Thanks for listening to the Marketing Expedition podcast. Want to continue the journey? Don't miss out on new episodes. Subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, Amazon Music, or wherever you get your podcasts. Wouldn't it be great if there was one place you can go to get all the latest information and tips about marketing and advertising? The Marketing Expedition community is that place. People like you gather in our online community to build relationships with others and find the latest marketing trends, tactics, tools, and technology. We help you build your brand and your bottom line. Start your adventure today. Visit themarketingexpedition.com to find out more.